This is the story of the mother who couldn't hear her child. There was a woman named Sarah who prided herself on being an attentive, responsive mother. She worked from home so she could be available for her 6-year-old daughter Emma, and she believed she was always listening to what her child needed. Sarah's days were filled with the usual sounds of modern life. Email notifications pinging constantly, phone calls from clients, the washing machine running, the neighbor's dog barking, construction noise from the street, news playing in the background. She had learned to function efficiently within this constant audio chaos, multitasking her way through work and parenting simultaneously. But lately, Sarah had been feeling like something was off with Emma. Her daughter seemed more withdrawn, less engaged, sometimes defiant in ways that didn't make sense. Sarah couldn't pinpoint what was wrong. One afternoon, while Sarah was on a particularly stressful work call about a project deadline, Emma came into the room and stood quietly beside her desk. Sarah noticed her presence but continued her conversation, holding up one finger to signal just a minute. After the call ended, Emma was gone. This scene repeated several times over the following days. Emma appearing quietly, Sarah being busy, Emma eventually leaving without saying whatever she had come to say. Concerned about Emma's recent mood changes, Sarah decided to consult her neighbor, Mrs. Chen, an elderly woman who used to be a kindergarten teacher. Mrs. Chen had raised 5 children and seemed to have an intuitive understanding of what kids needed. "I'm worried about Emma," Sarah confided. "She's been acting strange lately. Moody, distant, sometimes disrespectful. I can't figure out what's bothering her. I try to listen to her, but she never seems to want to talk." Mrs. Chen listened thoughtfully, then asked, "Would you like me to show you something?" Sarah nodded, curious. Mrs. Chen reached into her purse and pulled out a quarter. Without warning, she dropped it onto Sarah's hardwood floor. The metallic clink immediately caught Sarah's attention, and she instinctively looked toward the sound. "Interesting," Mrs. Chen observed with a gentle smile. "You heard that right away." "Of course," Sarah said, puzzled. "It was a sudden noise. Now, Mrs. Chen continued, "Can you hear what Emma is really trying to tell you?" Sarah looked confused. "What do you mean? Emma isn't even here right now. Listen more carefully," Mrs. Chen said quietly. Sarah paused, focusing her attention. At first, she heard only the familiar background noise of her daily life, a distant lawnmower, her computer fan humming, birds outside. But then, straining to listen, she heard something she hadn't noticed before. From Emma's room came a very soft sound, not crying exactly, but a quiet, rhythmic breathing that sounded like suppressed emotion. "She's been trying to tell you something for days," Mrs. Chen said gently. "But her voice is much quieter than your phone notifications. You've trained yourself to hear the urgent and the loud, but you're missing the subtle and the important." Sarah felt her heart sink as she realized what Mrs. Chen meant. "You mean she's been trying to talk to me, but I haven't been really listening?" "Children don't always use words," Mrs. Chen explained. "Sometimes they speak through their presence, their posture, their silences. Emma has been standing beside your desk not to interrupt you, but to be near you. She's been hoping you'll create space for whatever she needs to share." That evening, Sarah made a deliberate choice. She turned off her phone, closed her laptop, and found Emma in her room, sitting quietly with her coloring books. "Emma," Sarah said, sitting down on the floor beside her, "I have something to tell you. I haven't been listening to you very well lately. I've been hearing all the loud things. My phone, my work, all the noise around us. But I haven't been listening for your voice." Emma looked up, surprised by her mother's full attention. "I'm listening now," Sarah said softly. "Really listening. Is there something you want to tell me?" What Emma shared in the next few minutes broke Sarah's heart and opened her eyes completely. Emma had been worried that Mommy didn't want to play with her anymore. She had been trying to find the right moment to ask about some scary dreams she'd been having. She had wanted to share excitement about a friend at school, but never felt like she had her mother's complete attention. All of these important things had been trying to speak to Sarah, but they couldn't compete with the volume of her daily distractions. From that day forward, Sarah practiced what she came to think of as cricket listening. Just as some people can hear the subtle sound of crickets singing beneath city noise, she learned to listen for Emma's quieter communications beneath the louder demands of daily life. The Buddha taught that we hear what we are conditioned to hear and miss what requires presence and attention. In our noisy modern world, we're trained to respond to whatever is loudest, most urgent, or most demanding of our immediate attention. Phone notifications, social media alerts, news updates, work deadlines. These are the falling coins of our daily experience. They make sharp, attention-grabbing sounds that we've been conditioned to notice immediately. But what about the quieter voices that might be more important? The subtle signs that our body needs rest. The gentle intuition about a decision we need to make. The unexpressed needs of people we love. The creative ideas that whisper rather than shout. Sarah's story reveals something profound about attention in the modern world. We think we're listening to our children, our partners, our own inner wisdom. But often we're only hearing the loudest parts of their communication while missing the most important parts. Children especially speak in many languages beyond words. They communicate through their energy, their behavior, their proximity, their silences. But these subtler languages require a different kind of listening, one that isn't constantly interrupted by digital distractions. The same is true for our own inner voice. Intuition rarely shouts. Wisdom often whispers. The guidance we most need frequently comes in quiet moments when we're not busy managing the urgent demands of our external world. Mrs. Chen's quarter demonstration showed Sarah something crucial about selective attention. We notice what we're trained to notice. We hear what we expect to hear. But this conditioning can cause us to miss the very things that matter most. This doesn't mean we should ignore our responsibilities or never respond to urgent needs. It means we need to consciously cultivate the ability to hear what's subtle alongside what's obvious. The Zen tradition speaks of beginner's mind, approaching each moment with fresh attention, free from the assumption that we already know what's important. When Sarah brought this quality of listening to her relationship with Emma, she discovered communications that had been happening all along. Think about your own life and the people you love. What cricket songs might you be missing while you're responding to falling coins? What quiet communications are trying to reach you beneath the noise of your daily routine? Perhaps it's your partner's subtle changes in mood that signal they need support. Maybe it's your own body's gentle signals about what it needs for health and energy. It could be creative inspiration that comes in quiet moments, but gets drowned out by busyness. Tonight, as you settle into rest, practice Sarah's cricket listening. Turn down the volume on the external noise and tune in to the subtler frequencies of your experience. What does your body want to tell you? What does your heart need you to know? What wisdom is trying to reach you through the quiet channels that urgent demands often override? The Buddha said, "The quieter you become, the more you can hear." This isn't just about external silence. It's about creating internal spaciousness that allows us to perceive what we might otherwise miss. Sarah discovered that Emma had been singing to her all along, but her song was quieter than the digital noise competing for attention. Once Sarah learned to listen for this different frequency, their relationship transformed. The most important communications in our lives often come not through dramatic announcements, but through subtle presence. Learning to hear these quieter voices might be one of the most valuable skills we can develop. As the wise teacher said, people hear what they are listening for. The question is, what are you listening for, And what beautiful, important sounds might you be missing in the process?